tag on airplanes now for a little bit after crossing paths. So I figured, why not have you on? You're here in town.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So how long have you been with First Phorm?
So First Phorm's running up on 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. How did you end up there?
Whew, that's a good question. So I have a plant science degree. I've spent almost 20 years in the golf business before.
Golf?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a superintendent, general manager, ran golf courses for, half my life almost. And then at some point, Andy and I had run into each other when he had moved up here, and we started training together. And he's like, someday I'll have a spot for you at First Phorm. And I'm like, whatever, man, I'm doing all right.
Just let me know.
Yeah, I'm doing
right.
okay in golf, whatever. And here we are. At some point,
dude,
we did.
You never know.
That's right.
Right. Like, I mean, man, I never planned to do what I'm currently doing. My former life was outside sales and oil and gas industry.
Right.
I did that for just over 10 years. The same. Like, I had a full other career in another job.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, this weird thing has worked out enough that I get to, I got to take a shot.
Right. Yeah. And I think for golf wasn't growing the grass. I enjoyed. Golf wasn't necessarily like a huge passion for me, but bodybuilding had become a passion. And then bodybuilding took a crash, 2 pec tears. You're not going to look real good on stage.
So did you compete at all?
Oh yeah. I competed quite a bit. And then basically turned what I loved doing, bodybuilding, into a career. And even though we're not necessarily, I wouldn't say First Phorm is like this huge bodybuilder brand, it's still...
Yeah, but you're still in the game.
Yeah, and the nuts and bolts of getting people results all of that information came from the bodybuilding world. It's kind of the tip of the spear.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, as far as muscular development and performance in that reign, if you're trying to...
losing fat, all those things. Now, there's
that's
extremes.
What everyone wants.
Right.
That's what the big bell curve of people getting into the gym are interested in.
Yep.
Is that not the wacko shit I did with strength stuff or strongman, especially when I got into it.
Right.
Oddly enough, I've trained now for, 23 years, 24 years since I was 13, but it's all been for performance and sport. So I've never followed a bro split. I've never took something out of like muscle and fitness and tried to add 2 inches to my arms or any of that. So I just finished this run training, and now Bonnie and I are going into just doing bodybuilding for like the next 8 weeks. And I'm going to watch diet and see what all there is to learn.
See what happens.
Yeah. I have zero interest in getting on stage. I just can't wrap my head around, I'm not in shape for it.
Right.
But I can't wrap my head around putting in whatever work and discipline that is and letting a guy's decision, like an opinion, have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny you say that. So I am for the NPC, I am the head judge for Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas. And it is one of those things. And one of the reasons I got into judging was because I cared about how people were judged. And I wanted to make sure that it was accurate or proper, based on the guidelines that exist. So that is one of those things that I think it does get skewed sometimes, and people think that there's favorites but when you have 7 people up there, it's really hard to manipulate the numbers. But that doesn't mean that necessarily everybody should be a bodybuilder either.
No, of course. Right. Like I respect the sport, and that's something that's really grown a lot, especially now that I know more people that really compete in it. Mm-hmm. And the competition side of it's still very strange to me.
Right.
But man, the level of work and discipline that takes, that's what I'm interested in.
Yep.
There's an unlock there of that level of discipline that, man, I'd like to have.
Right.
And it's just been always so easy with performance as my thing to, it's all right to have snacks, or losing weight costs strength. I can always figure out a loophole to allow myself to fuck off.
Yep.
And I want to do it. I want to see, I'm 38. I don't know how, I'm not going to get younger.
Right.
We know that much. And so I don't know how many years I have left to see really what it'll do.
Yeah.
But now's as good a time as any.
Yeah. So I think I spent, first show was 144 pounds. So when I graduated high school, 130.
Slightly different.
Barely, barely 130. And over the 10 or 11 years that I competed, my last show, which was right after I had tore my second pec, I was 211. So basically what I weigh right now is what I was on stage for my last show. And, at some point I was kind of probably pushing the limits on, for me, what was healthy because of what it took to get to that spot.
Sure.
But, one of the things that always kept you moving was you are going to get on stage in your underwear.
For sure. There is a level of accountability there that I like.
Right.
Right. That, come hell or high water, we're on stage, and whether we're embarrassed or we're in shape, that's kind of up to us.
That's the best. That's the best carrot that you can have for like one of my clients. Cause I don't work with clients a whole lot, but I still do some because I enjoy it.
Right.
And
well, you get to pick now.
Oh yeah. And they're like, great. I blah, blah, blah. Hey, you know what? I'm not the one getting on stage in my underwear. Hey, so that's on you. Like,
for sure.
I appreciate you telling me, but I'm not going to be mad at you. You're going to be mad at you when you get those pictures or whatever.
Yeah. You're up there alone. Like, you are fully exposed, right? Yeah. And like, that's pretty interesting. I can see how it gets really, really tough, especially on the female side, because like when you're on stage, you're at the most depleted, you're in the least sustainable moment. Mm-hmm. Like, you're a peak, right? That's the reason it's called that. And then, for a female who's doing something and is trying to figure out body issues, being told that, yes, this is the best you've ever looked is an unholdable moment.
Right.
It's got to be tough.
Terrible.
Fucking brutal.
Right. Right. And I think, from a judge's perspective, a lot of times what we see is people like to compare their best body part to somebody else's worst. That kind of thing. And then, and as you move into the upper echelon, there's no better way to say this than walk down the Barbie doll aisle at Walmart and tell me which one wins. They all have very similar physiques, but the thing that changes them is their presentation and how they are on stage, level of confidence. There's so many other things that come into that makes it a little bit more of a pageant. Right.
For sure.
And so bodybuilding's not a sport. Like, let's just be clear. It's more of a pageant.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
An art form.
Yes.
I don't know. Sport is a push.
I've always really appreciated seeing it as an art form. I very much so feel like it's a very
really
raw,
slow sculpting.
Yes, it's a very raw way of art because you're literally sculpting your body. Yeah, exactly. Because you're sculpting your body. Like, I find that very artistic.
Yeah,
and that's why. That's why I like Kai Green in the sense of his bodybuilding style, just because I think he understands that side of it more than a lot of other bodybuilders do. That
and the way he can move his body and what he shows off with that.
What he understands about his body, how to make it do things.
How is there that much meat on a skeleton?
It's crazy.
They're wild looking humans. like now that I've gotten to be, closer friends with whether it's, Jay Cutler or Flex Lewis or any of these other guys, like, there's so much meat on Flex's skeleton.
Right.
And I look at it pretty objectively, like, I've trained for 23 years and done a lot of sets and reps and gotten very strong and successful at a sport. But there's an amount of sets and reps that equal that. Mm-hmm. And I'm nowhere near whatever that is.
Right.
Man, and again, it's not the body type I want to be, but fuck, I respect
the shit
what
out
that
of it.
takes.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
You're a mutant.
Yep. It's definitely a ton of work. And I think, especially when you look at somebody like that, who's that far progressed, that at some point you're not training the way you want to train anymore. You're training specifically to make something happen, to make some body part catch up or slow down or whatever, in order to keep the
slow down
physique.
bit's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I was blessed with a pretty large back. So like for me competing, I would go 6 months at a time and never train back at all.
Not really. Essentially, I would never have to do calves.
Right.
Just stop, fix other things.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, really.
Yeah. Anytime you're thinking about doing calves, Matt, go over there and diet or do sit-ups. One of these two would be more valuable.
Right. And of course, you want to train the best body parts normally, right? Because that's it feels good.
Oh, yeah.
Looks good.
Playing to your strengths is always very, very fun.
Very easy.
Now with the judging, are you judging like all categories? So I know that there's like classic physique, there is bikini, there's women's physique.
Yep.
there's a lot.
There is.
Yeah, I know Dana, and so she was physique, I believe, and like the first female Olympia physique. So they're barefoot and they have a routine, right? Mm-hmm. And so same judges judge routine versus like everything. Oh man. So
Same guys. Yeah.
Is there a bit of like gymnastics judging background for like a floor routine? Because that.
Yeah. So there is, you know, and they've lightened those standards because so if you go back to the fitness, there used to be some sort of gymnastics and all these strength movements that had to be in it. And then fitness kind of dwindled down to where fitness doesn't hardly exist anymore, which is the category that it was basically figure with a pretty intense,
with the very weird push-ups and a lot of things like that. Okay.
A very intense floor routine. And they have lightened the floor routine spot so that we can hopefully grow that category back to what it used to be, because it is very entertaining for the audience. You know, it's certainly much more entertaining for somebody to see that than, you know, front double bicep 2,500 times during the competition. I wonder
what, you know, especially in something, if we were going to have more of that fitness routine with it, I'd love to see like what someone like a Brooke Ince would do in that field. You know, she's already very lean.
Right.
And like, to me, like that's the fitness figure.
Yeah.
You know, if I was picking one.
Right.
You know,
the
dancer background, gymnastics, plus very strong and all of that. And then, so the men's have, which are the guys in the board shorts?
They're actually physique.
That's physique.
Yep.
Okay. So that's like Jason Poston. Those guys did that.
And then classic men's physique is going to be more of the old school bodybuilder.
Okay. So more of a natural look. Like kind of like what Arnold looked like
back in the day. Yep.
Yeah. So like Pumping Iron Arnold.
Yep.
Okay. And then there's mutants.
Yep.
What category is that? That's
just bodybuilding.
Just okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's just bodybuilding. And you know, by weight class. Of course, the other ones have height classes, and then classic physique has height class by or weight class by height.
Okay. So Flex competes by height, or is it a weight?
He competes by weight.
Okay.
In bodybuilding though.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh yeah. It gets a little confusing, you know, and they keep adding more and more categories to try to, you know, it's certainly, when I started there was two.
Sure.
You know, there was guy bodybuilding and girl bodybuilding.
And lady bodybuilding, that's it, right?
That's it. So
well, the powerlifting's done the same thing.
Right.
You know, it has dispersed and there's a million federations and whatever it is. And like people can piss and moan, but at the end of the day, like there's more opportunity for you to compete.
Yep.
And compete by whatever rules
you wish
you would like to play by. Now, if we're going to sit here and try to point and say this rule versus, you know, which federation, like stop. It's not worth doing.
Right.
You know, so yes, I'm looking, I don't know if looking forward. I'm looking forward to doing this hypertrophy block. Like I've just never tried to put on size.
Mm-hmm. Single body parts every day?
Kinda. I think that's a plan. Bonnie's writing most of my program as she has a better background in it than me, because I'll just come in and do like, we did sets of 8. This is great. And she's like, no, 4 sets of 20. And then I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And then more. We do back more than one day a week. That's dumb. This is against everything I've ever known. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun transition, man.
Heck yeah.
We'll come out your way and meet up at First Phorm. I'd love to get taken through a workout.
Do a bro session.
Dude, that would be super fun to come film. I'd love to get taken through.
And I miss so many workouts nowadays that really my training is like push pull legs. It's just resulted to that so that I can't miss, you know what I mean? I'm not missing, like, if I miss a day, it's not like, oh, what body part am I not training this week?
Yeah, for a long time, mine was, I had an upper day, a lower day, and then an Olympic lifting day. Or when I was competing, the 3-day week that I trained was like a bench squat, a deadlift, overhead press, then Olympic lifting.
Yep.
And so,
I like that.
Yeah, the idea of like biceps. I've never trained arms. Like,
well, we're going to train just arms today.
I know, it's very strange. So I'm playing with that, playing with blood flow restriction, and I may or may not change up my gear a little bit to see. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But whatever I'm running right now with HRT feels really good, and I don't have any side effects. So I'm probably just going to stay.
I'm sure
right where I am.
It's probably enough. As long as
Probably
recovery is
That's
where
exactly
it belongs.
right. Yeah, I haven't run into an issue yet with food and sleep can't be manipulated more to help.
Right. Right.
The sleep part will get tricky.
The older you get, the worse the sleep gets. Like, man, I sleep like shit.
But also, I'm busy. But it's not a complaint. Like, I'm glad to be busy.
Oh, I would not want to not be busy.
No, dude. I do bored way worse than I do over busy, kind of slightly stressed.
Idle hands, not good.
No, I'm way too self-destructive. I'll just get shitty. It's not a good spot at all.
Oh, yeah. I can understand that.
So what do you do for First Phorm?
So my original, when I came on board, is handled a lot customer service. Of course, at customer service, I say that lightly because we were doing maybe 10 orders a day. 10 orders a day was a busy day when I came on board.
I currently have you at our warehouse. I know exactly who that position is.
So, when we got really busy, I would go out and help pack orders too. So it was pretty unique. And then, Sal and I would travel the country together and, knock on doors, and people would say, no, what is
just supplement stores? And
how do you say it? What is that? What is First Phorm? And, couldn't pronounce it, didn't know what it was, didn't make sense. We weren't one of the big brands, and basically get kicked out of a store. So fast forward a handful of years, and the brand had started taking off. Sal moved into more of the role that he has now for running the company. And I slid in because I had a relationship with a lot of these retailers that we already had. I just slid into his spot, and somebody else took over customer service. Right.
It makes sense. The travel and sales job, Dan, it is, it holds a special place in my heart, man. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize doing that job how valuable a lot of those skills are, as far as like booking meetings, showing up on time, and then the communication and holding relationships from a distance. It's tough,
right?
And it's a thing that I do really well because I have that background. I know that I'm rarely going to see a lot of the friends that we travel to see,
right?
But I still manage to keep close, pretty good. Like I do a good job of that, which is.
Yeah, and that's what it all boils down to eventually, right? Is relationships, and how good are you at, there's a lot of product out there, how much can we help these people grow their business? And, certainly my best retailers are the people that I've helped, grow their businesses by whatever number,
right?
1 store to 5 stores, or 1 store to 10 stores.
Yeah, weird. The more that you've reinvested back into them, the better the relationship goes.
Right.
Yeah, it's the sales thing. When it's done right, it's not gross feeling.
Oh yeah. I mean, the big thing for us is, and I tell people this all the time, I do not want to sell. I don't want First Phorm to take somebody else's spot in the store. Not interested in that. I'm interested in figuring out how to make the pie bigger. And naturally, if I have a piece of that pie, if the pie gets bigger, then First Phorm does better.
Exactly. Right. Like, man, it's the not scarcity mindset. It's another thing that is a reoccurring thought amongst people with their shit together that we talk to.
Yeah.
That no one feels that where the competition isn't there.
Right.
The competition is always
between the ears.
Yeah, man. Because if someone's better, they're just proving it can be done.
Right.
We don't have to take their business to make ours better.
No, you just got to get out of your own way.
There's so many people out there.
Yep.
Right. Like, you know how many people buy t-shirts? And for me to ever be like, we've hit our limit.
Yeah, I mean, even if you were getting 1 million customers, like
that's still no one.
Like realizing the fraction that even is of America, like
right.
Yeah.
There's so many people.
Yeah, so. Think of a product, right? 330 million people in this country, and all of them have shirts in their closet.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, the funny thing about that is 10 years in, we just got back from an awesome event at FitCon, right? And have people walk up to the booth finally that are like, oh, you're Brian at First Phorm, or, oh, I love using this product. But there's still tons of people that are walking up saying, tell me something about this. I don't know.
They don't know anything. Never heard about it.
I'm like, so there's
never heard of it. Yeah.
There's still just a whole lot of people
and you guys have done an incredible job. And I'm sure whenever I get a chance to sit with Andy, like that culture building, and like we had talked about a little bit before coming on, man, the culture building that you guys have done, and the storytelling, like the actual sharing of information. It's, people buy in to the idea of First Phorm And the way you support that is by buying the supplements.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a bunch of regular dudes from the Midwest that
just trying like hell to figure it out, man.
Take supplements. That's right. Make a lot of mistakes. Try not to make them twice.
Dude, that's the biggest rule, right? Like, make mistakes because fuck, we're gonna.
Right.
So get to making them. I mean, I talk about this with you guys all the time. It's like inaction is way worse to me than like, let's fuck stuff up. Just don't constantly fuck up the same things.
Don't do it again.
No, it's a bad move. But yeah, with media you guys have built and podcast and getting that voice and message out there and the accountability and not scarcity, and then, explaining to regular people that,
it's really not that hard.
No, but it
doesn't need to be hard.
And you guys and, friends like Rob with Flagner Fail or us with Hate, and it's the same message. We just want you to give a shit about you.
That's right.
Instead of waiting for someone else to help.
Right.
No one's coming.
Ever.
And I'm never interested in investing more in a person than they are in themselves. I can't want it for you more than you do, man. This will never work.
No.
You have to like try to drag someone through a process.
Wear yourself out.
No.
Right.
It's bad for both of you.
Yeah. 100%.
But when it's great, it's 1 + 1 = 3. Mm-hmm. And that's the sweet stuff that you chase.
Yep.
And you guys seem to be figuring it out, man. You guys, you inspire the hell out of me to want to do more.
You put some winners up and, it tends to make people want to figure out how to win as well, so you figure out how to get the mom who says that she can't lose any weight and, she's got 25 kids and she has no time to work out, and you help her figure out how to do that and make it very simple, and so that she can still be a great mom but be a better version of herself. And then you put that on a poster and more people want to try to figure that out too.
I know it's, it's incredible that you can just show people that it's not impossible.
Yeah, and it's not that hard.
No, it's not that hard. It's just
you don't
consistent.
have to do some kind of crazy,
it's
diet.
It's simple, but it isn't easy. Right. The simple part is eat the same food every meal. That's basically anyone I know who has their shit together dietary wise.
Right.
Eats like a bit of a robot.
Yep.
Now, when good meals show up and it's time for a life experience, let's live.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. But I've also not fucked off the last 20 meals.
That's right.
As a reward.
Well, I think, when you look at people's diets, they get wound up about, as soon as you mention any sort of like restriction, they're like, I can't do it. Oh, you're not going to restrict me. But if you really just like, if you taught them how to eat without making it seem like they're restricted, they find out that, oh, you know what? I really only eat like the same 10 to 15 things anyways.
Right.
These are the things that I like to eat. And then when it is narrowed down like that, especially after a given amount of time, when they have certain foods, they start to notice that, oh yeah, when I eat that, I feel like shit. Well, then don't eat that no more. Let's figure out something else to eat. Like if broccoli makes you feel like crap, let me tell you, there's no reason to eat it. Like there's nothing magical about broccoli that you should be eating it. We can have green beans or asparagus.
There's nothing people want magic.
Yeah.
Because magic helps explain like why I can't.
Yes.
Because it can't just be hard work.
Right. But I don't like broccoli. Okay, cool.
Sure, perfect.
Let's have a green
Try
bean.
A green bean. It doesn't matter. Eat lettuce.
Yep.
Yeah, people will do anything except work out to get in shape.
Well, I remember there was an old like Mad TV skit years ago, and this lady's like, I have the fitness answer, blah, blah, blah. It's very simple. Anyone can do it. It's free, and it's move more, eat less. Guaranteed to work for 100% of humans.
Right.
And like people are like, sounds too simple. Isn't there a pill I could take?
That's true.
Speaking of things like that, within doing supplements for this long and trends that you've seen, and hell, I'm sure stuff that's legal and then gets chopped and you have to pivot.
Sure.
Has there been like one thing you guys put out that you just couldn't keep it in stock, like no matter what you could do?
No. I mean, greens, I think when we initially launched greens, it had taken off so fast that it was very, very tough.
Really?
We didn't have the infrastructure at that time to support it, not knowing that it was going to take off the way it took off.
Yeah, that's a cool product that's landed for a lot think companies.
Yeah.
The super greens think like
who would have thought
an excuse to
who would
not
have thought
eat?
greens was cool, right? And now it's become one hell of a category. I would say that was probably the the one that kind of took off and, you know, was like, holy cow, look at this.
Not
Look at this
pre-workouts,
go.
not.
No, I mean, I don't think we don't speed on the pre-workout side, so it's hard for us to have like a super sexy pre-workout.
Well, and look, I guess I'm a little naive to a lot of what First Phorm offers as supplements because I don't take a lot of, I eat food.
Yep.
And the supplements I'm taking are from my doctor.
Right.
And so,
Yep.
yeah, pretty set.
Yeah.
But man, it's such an interesting business to me.
It is. And I help a lot with the formulations on things. And I think, you know, like whenever you start looking at formulas, you know, it's hard to, I think it's easy for us because it's never a price decision. It's like, let's build the best product that we can possibly build and move from there. And I kind of fell into that because from my background in plant science, I always read research anyways. So I
between that and
enjoy
bodybuilding background, I mean, I'm sure you're happy
reading
to
that
experiment.
stuff. Right. So, you know, but when you look at a product like, I mean, let's just say joint mobility, you know, it's easy that it works as well as it does because we didn't do what everybody else does.
Right.
You know, so we used ingredients that work in a different fashion, and not saying that glucosamine and chondroitin and MSM and what all these other guys are using don't work, but I think a lot of times they don't work in the quantities that they're being given in.
No.
You know, in order for glucosamine to work properly, you're going to have some digestive issues
Of course.
alongside that. Right. You know, so when you take that large of a dose.
Yeah, it's not real fun.
Yeah, we're using a product called Paractin that, you know, really helps to lower that inflammation inside the joint and really get some rebuilding going on.
Man, I had, when my knee had gone bad on me and like I'm 6 or 7 knee surgeries in, and like during one of the rehabs, I remember getting a question from some asshole asking, "Have you tried glucosamine?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah. We're a little past glucosamine.
Right. Like, I have metal parts. I need WD-40.
Yeah. We're slightly beyond that. Appreciate you.
So now that you're not training bodybuilding specifically, I mean, you're still training. As you said, you're doing just basically a bro split. You basically try to stay healthy with the gym while you're running at 900 miles an hour doing all these other things.
Everything under the sun. Yeah, I had back surgery. Let's see, the back surgery's been what, maybe 2.5 years ago ish. So, you know, typical L4, L5, had an annular tear. Right leg was just not functioning properly.
Whoa.
So
just like drop foot or?
No, it would, just no strength. Like, I would have to like old man it down the steps, you know, like 1 foot.
I do.
Down, 1 foot down, 1 foot down. But the funny thing is about that is like, I didn't know that I had back problems and I had back pain. I had knee pain. So inside of my knee would just be on fire when I was seated. And, you know, I was convinced that I had knee problems. So I went to see an ortho and he did the normal strength test. And when he pushed that right leg through the table, he was like, you don't have knee problems, you have back problems. And it was just like,
so just a nerve issue.
Shit. Yeah, it was
shutting it down.
Yeah, it was shutting it down. So causing stenosis on that canal through there and turning it off. So once I got that cleaned up, everything, now I'm dealing with it, everything works right. But
yeah, you got
everything works right.
Yeah, you have to undo. Yeah, believe me, I'm sure I'll have a limp forever. That's part of the cost I've paid.
Sure.
Right. You know, that's how she works.
Yeah.
Man, back surgery's gnarly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had a great doctor. It was pretty.
It's still hindsight.
Easy. Yeah. I don't know that, you know, at 43 years old, I would have been signing up for fusions and all that kind of thing. Like I would prefer to remain off of that list, you know, but for this one, you know, he seemed fairly confident that we could get it cleaned up and hopefully, you know, he couldn't guarantee that the nerve activity would come back, but it seems like it has. Now it's up to me to probably stop doing all the things that I was doing. Cause in that process, I had picked up running and doing, you know, stuff that's very linear and doesn't really equip the muscle the way it needs to be in order to rehab it.
Yeah, look, I ended up doing a lot of the same thing, a lot of cycling, a lot of running because it didn't hurt.
Right.
You know,
it was something.
I need something.
Yes.
Now, I like cycling.
I enjoy it too. Peloton, outside, inside, man, doesn't matter.
They're a cool unit.
Right.
I've had a chance to use one or two in different places, and it's not as much as I'd like being outside, but
right,
it's a decent alternative. Same way I feel about the
better than
True
riding
Phorm
in the
runner,
winter.
that treadmill.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be on a treadmill, which I would not prefer anyway,
right,
that's as good an option.
Absolutely.
Like that or those.
I have not even tried to run inside.
I had to do it for the training. Like when I started, it was really cold
it was
out.
Chilly.
And but now we're here and it is not cold anymore. But I'm also not that interested in running.
Right.
I'm going to, I'll get some in next week. I'll just keep saying that apparently.
I think I ran a full marathon in August of last year, and
like what type of time are you putting in?
Oh, that was terrible.
Okay, so run walk. You're doing a marathon.
There was a bunch of people that from the office that were doing one.
Oh, sick!
I had done a bunch of halves, so I get into it, get a half done, and I'm like, I feel pretty good. I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
You get switch out the shoes, put on a different pair of shoes, go out get to mile 18, and I'm like, oh shit, this sucks.
This sucks.
But I'm not going to stop. I'm
no, at that point.
I'm going to finish. I don't care how long it takes.
At that point, those other 8 miles.
Oh, yeah. We get to the end, and like one of our customers was there running too, and she came, met me at like 100 yards out, and all the guys are there waiting, and she's like, you want me to run in with you? And I was like, honey, if you think right now that I'm walking when all those guys can see me and not running because I'm just being a pussy, I got news for you.
Yeah, I'm broken.
If I could fucking run, I would be running my ass off. This is all I got.
And dude, I crossed the line at Bryce Canyon with my pipe in my hand. I was been trying to fight inflammation here for the last 10 miles.
That's right.
That extra mile really snuck up on you.
Oh God. It was supposed to be 18 is what I signed up or 30K. So 18.6.
Okay.
And they've got a little race app that is updating you while you're doing it over your headphones. And so, it tells you your mile, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like mile 18. And I'm like, sweet. And Sep, I'm like, I know there's an out and back toward the finish and I'm not on that yet.
Yeah. Well,
And then it's like mile 19. I'm like, motherfucker. This is not what I agreed to. I'm like, I feel you have attacked me.
Right.
Well, even when we were sitting in the RV, I kept looking at the map and I kept seeing a 19 marker and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm so confused because for the past 13 weeks, we've just been talking about 18 miles, 18. And then I was seeing a 19 on the map. And I'm like, what is this? And so,
bastards.
That's pretty funny.
But I was very ready to be done when I crossed that line.
Yeah.
I was pretty cashed. Mm-hmm. I could see doing another one of those events, in different national parks, would be super rad.
Yeah. What was the elevation change? Was it
a
great?
little over 3,000 feet.
Oh my God.
I walked a lot of fire road. There was a pretty steep, single track bit right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But after that, it kind of mellowed out. And the steep single track was we're in a line. It's just a crowd of people. So I'm not in a hurry.
Right.
Here we are.
Yeah. I don't trail running. I don't think trail running and I would get along. I was born with one leg kind of shorter than the other, so spent a good part of time in Shriners in my youth.
Whoa.
So things that are not level, not good. Just creates
right side of the road.
Yeah, right. It's just way too
right
much
crown of the road.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of that fixed, but my knees break in different spots, so it makes for an interesting uneven,
which I'm sure leads to the
pathway.
back.
That's exactly where the back thing came from.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn it. Everything's up and downstream.
All that squatting. You know what
man,
I mean?
look, none of us are getting out of this alive, Brian.
No.
So
listen,
I got no complaints about the machine
hard.
I was given.
I run hard.
I don't plan on turning it back in with a lot of resale value.
That's right. There's not going to be any.
No, they just burn it. Just put it in the pile with the other idiots and burn those.
That's right. We can't even recycle this one. No. Done.
No way, man. So you've been in St. Louis now forever? Or?
Forever, yeah. I left to go to Rutgers, away to college, and that was it. Came back.
Where is Rutgers?
Jersey.
Ah.
Yeah.
East Coast College.
First time I've really started falling in love with the city.
Okay. Man, I've liked it. I've been here for 2 years, and I really like the spot that we picked up. We live out in the Grove. I like the house we built. I like having this. So I'm enjoying my St. Louis tenure.
Yeah.
I don't know how long we'll be here, but for this chapter, it's been really cool, man.
Been all right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really rad. We need to get out and come see you guys more. such a rad facility, especially now that you built it all out with the Sornex stuff. We need to come and do a gym tour. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to line it up with Andy, but I realize how that is. And I get it.
Yeah.
I'm aware of how busy I am.
Yeah. He's got a little bit going on.
And so I imagine the multiplication of making decisions. Of course he's busy.
Right.
I get it. That's why you have things like what you guys do with SummerSlam and, you know, his birthday bit all being kind of wound in is because you have to schedule a party.
Right.
Unless, like, also he likes being busy. Let's, you know, where he can't
we
pretend.
all like
of
being
course.
busy.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm aware that my schedule's fucked because of me.
Right. Oh yeah. But then, like I said, whenever I saw you, you know, we talked about what the schedule looks like between now and September. Like I could be gone every weekend
Right.
if I choose to be.
Yeah, so
There's something always going on.
How often are you flying?
Either flying or driving. Now that COVID has, you know, mysteriously disappeared, I am probably 3 weeks a month.
3 weeks a month. Yeah.
3 weekends. 3 weekends.
Whenever I was doing
events are always weekends, right? So it's weekends.
Yeah. Whenever I was doing the outside sale, I was home maybe a little less than 50%.
Yep.
Like I was on the road a good 10 to 16 days a month.
Right. And we try to do some short ones. You know, there's times
Sure.
that it makes sense to do longer, to do, you know, hit a couple of spots at once.
Yep.
But for me, it's always been, especially since people are having events now, it's just easier to travel and see people at their events and sit down and talk to them at those junctures.
Well, not a ton of people come to St. Louis. No. Nature of the beast. You know,
Right.
A lot of the advantages of being in St. Louis, like it's essentially free to live here.
Right.
It's great.
Yep.
But if there's some people that it's just easier to go to.
Yeah.
But you guys do a great job of getting people in. Plus,
Oh yeah.
I mean, that facility and everything. So SummerSlam's coming up, and that's grown to be an enormous
Yeah. Next
thing.
weekend.
Who's playing?
I don't even know.
You don't even know anymore.
I'm so far
I'm
removed
sure.
from
I'm
that
sure.
side of things that I'm just like, you know what? I know those guys it'll be somebody great, but I have no idea.
I
who
know
it
like
is.
Nelly's played and
Yeah.
that's man.
I would,
What a really cool thing.
yeah. Yeah. It's funny to be in that spot where it's like, because I've been asked that question a bunch and I'm like, for real, I have no idea.
No idea.
I have no clue.
Beauty is you don't have to give a shit because you have enough things going on.
Yeah.
You can just trust that the machine is going to take care of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Someone else working has that whole thing figured
right.
out. Man, you kids and all that too here, huh?
I do. I have I'm not old enough to have a 25-year-old, but I have a 25-year-old who's been, you know, through the Navy and back out. And then Peyton was at FitCon and
That's right.
She's 9. So
What's she think of all that?
She loves it. She likes to travel too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know, I have one, Brendan, if he wouldn't have joined the Navy, wouldn't have saw any of the world. Right. And I have a 9-year-old who's probably been in 40 states and has been all over the planet, you know, at 9. So it's just two completely, you know, I was poor when I had Brendan. Obviously I was in high school. So, and he had just two completely different lives between the two of them.
Man. But you never know how things are going to change, right? Like,
No.
you know, the life I'm living now is 100% different than what I was doing 5 years ago.
Right.
And cool. But there's part of me that's like, what does that mean 5 years from now?
That's
like?
right.
Like,
But I think it's one of those things where if you always know, I don't
either.
I would not want to have one of those
man.
lives where it's like, oh yeah, waking up again today, going to go work on the assembly line for another 8 hours. And then, you know what? I'm going to do that tomorrow and the next day. And then 10 years from now, I'll still be doing that.
Yeah, my dad did it.
Right.
You know, was a Boilermaker at the same place for 30 plus years.
I just always knew that was not ever for me.
And it's changed in my generation because I remember, like, look, when I started thinking about having to work for a living, you know, late high school, whatever it is, the idea of getting hired by a place and then having a job for 30 years, I remember being like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't have to
like
ever
the trades,
find a job.
Sure.
But now,
Can't imagine it.
And even then, right? Like, I remember, I'm 38, so I'm a little bit younger than you. The idea of switching jobs on a regular basis was a huge no-no to your resume.
Right.
because you looked fickle. Mm-hmm. Whereas now people look at it like a different thing is it looks like ambitious.
Right.
People don't settle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different thing than what existed.
In my youth,
I
had bounced around from multiple golf courses, just to work under different people and learn different ways of doing things, right? Because we all know that everybody wants to think that their way is the only way to skin a cat, but it's really not. There's thousands of ways to do it.
Ways. You have to figure out yours.
Right.
The one that you hate.
The only one that works for you.
Yeah, the
one that's going to work.
Right. The one you dislike least.
Yep.
That's for sure. Now, your 25-year-old, what's he up to now?
So he is started a detail and ceramic coating business. So that's his his gig at this point. Very cool. Yeah, he's super unlike me. He is super detail oriented when it comes to that. Like, dude's very, very good at like building things and like working with wood and stuff like that. And I have no patience for that.
I'm so bad at it.
I'm so terrible at it. I'm the worst.
I want to be better at it.
Yep.
But I'm not willing to invest the time to get better at it.
Yeah.
So I'll never be good at it. And I know it.
If we were carpenters, I'd be the framer and he'd be the finish guy. Like he would definitely be doing all of the
I'm more of an idea person,
right?
Is what I'm good at. Like I can visualize and put together all of the idea of how I want a thing to turn out.
Right.
And then it's basically handed over to let a real person do the thing.
Yep. I fully understand that.
Yep. I'm like, here's exactly what I would want. I don't need any ideas. Just tell me what's not reality. Right. What can't be made. And we'll adjust.
Yeah, so he's been really good at that just because he's so detail minded.
Man, I think the entrepreneur mindset, like we're seeing such a big shift in times that prior to the internet and social media really being as influential in our lives as it is now, entrepreneur was, you owned a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Right.
That meant success, that you had done that's the only option. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, crazy.
Oh,
own a brick and mortar?
He could do that in my driveway if he wanted. He can do it in the person's driveway if he wants. And
then when you do that, you have less overhead. It takes less money to make the life thing successful. There's all these neat new advantages for people to really pursue any number of things.
Yep.
The trick is they're all hard. And you have to provide a thing people don't want to do.
That's right. And be really good at it.
Do something people hate doing well.
Yep.
And you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And, I
cut grass.
You're right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, that earlier.
I mean, that when my dad retired from the refinery, that was the move. Like he bought a couple lawnmowers and cut yards and didn't need to, just needed shit to do.
Right.
And as far as having an activity, yard work is pretty immediately gratifying.
Oh,
there's not much better.
Super instant gratification. There's no doubt
the
about
yard
that.
looks wildly different.
Right.
Very clean. It's a day in the sun and I'm sweaty. Mm-hmm. Very few things earn the beer.
Yep, that's right.
Better than that feeling.
Heck yeah.
And it'll be back in 3 days.
Yeah. Right. You can do it again.
Do it all over again.
I know. I have get in trouble. In fact, I've had to warn because I just moved into a new house in the past few months, and I warned the neighbors the older lady in the flower bed is my mother, and yes, she is choosing to work in the flower bed. I'm not.
You don't have her chained to the house.
She enjoys doing that, and we grew up on a farm. So
my mom's the same way, man.
That's what she
her
does.
Backyard and doing that whole thing.
It's
just
crazy.
The plant thing. I wonder that may be lost on me. Like there's some stuff that didn't make it from my parents' generation to me and my brother. We grew up hunting and doing all that, and that really didn't pass on.
Yeah.
I'm
interest.
I'm not against it.
Right.
I just, with the limited time I have available, that's not one of the ones I'm interested in chasing.
You probably do something very similar to me. I have a good buddy of mine who's a fanatic when it comes to fishing and hunting, and I just know that. All right. We're going to go on this day. He's going to, if we're turkey hunting, he's going to handle all the shit. I don't have to do that. Right. I show up and
if I ever get the itch.
Right.
Yeah. I have a couple great options of people to call, whether it's, Bert Soren and those guys.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Like I would love to go do.
Yeah.
I'd like to go on an elk trip with Bert and them. I don't care if I carry a gun.
Yeah. You just
I
want to
just want to
experience
hang
it.
out,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and hike and
Yeah.
see that
Yeah,
workload.
Brad owns a fishing company called Omega Tackle, and like hop on the boat, and he's like, "Here, throw this over there like this." Okay,
Perfect.
got it.
Perfect.
No, not like that, like this. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry, like this."
See, we grew up hunting. Hunting deer's never done much for me. I never thought it was very challenging.
Right.
When you have a scope and a gun, and it's not running. I get it now.
Right.
What type of distance people, incredible. Bow hunting's always been wildly fascinating.
But who
to
has
me.
time for that? I don't have
I
time
don't.
for that.
I'd like to pick up a bow at some point just as a skill acquisition.
Right.
But also I want to learn to throw knives. So, I mean, fuck it. I just don't learn a bunch of weird stuff.
That's right.
I'll just be a terrible assassin at some point. But growing up, like we did a lot of duck hunting. And I like that because they're tough to hit.
Yeah.
I have not a whole lot of interest at waking up and being cold at 4 a.m. anymore. If I don't have to be, that part's not, I haven't been sold on
It's
it again.
lost its sexiness.
Why did we have to be up so early? Why do we have to be up at crazy stuff? My old man was wild, but I'm not surprised. I didn't fall too far.
I would say, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it adds up. I'm aware of where I came from. Man. Yeah, hunting. I don't think that's a thing I'll probably return
No.
to.
I mean, I'll fiddle with it every now and again when I have time. But like
I'm
this
not
year,
against it.
missed turkey season.
Yep.
Not
I
the
like
end of the
eating
world.
meat.
Right. I eat a lot of meat.
Yeah, so try to do that and
Love to cook. That's I'm a big green egg guy.
I think that's something I'll get into going forward. Like I could see there being a chapter in my life where I get more excited about cooking again. Right now it's just too easy to eat the meal prep food and be consistent with what we're doing physically. I'm sure there will be next house, or probably once I finish the backyard on this one and actually put in the grill and do stuff like that, like I'll cook
A
again.
little more of an opportunity.
Well, it's more of a hangout, right? It becomes
Right.
more of an activity.
Yep.
Right now it's just making fuel.
Yeah.
And it's not terribly
Let's
exciting.
Feed the machine.
Yep. Well, dude, it is warm in here and I'm cooking. So we'll have to run this another day again. I want to come out once I get back from this trip. Let me.
Sure.
I'll get in touch at the end of the month, and maybe Bon and I come out to First Phorm and you could put us through a bodybuilding training
Sure.
session.
Absolutely.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super
You know more than
in
I do.
shape, but we can.
Well, you can coach it.
I'll just yell.
Yeah, you could coach and tell us what to do. We'll just come and hammer it.
Perfect.
That'd be super
That
fun.
works out
Brian,
great.
I thank you a ton for coming, my dude.
Thanks for having me.
And
it was
it's like
fun.
I like having friends in town because we can do more of these.
Yeah. Anytime.
Dude, this is great. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Brian, where can they find all your stuff?
Teach Brian on Instagram. You want to shoot me an email? It's bteach@firstphorm. Pretty simple.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. Spread hate, always party.